everybody. Good evening. Welcome to ABATE of Chicago TV. I'm Diane Shapiro, the Director of Safety and Education for ABATE, and we're going to read to you the mission of ABATE of Illinois is to preserve the universal right to a safe, unrestricted motorcycling environment and to propose and advocate actions that can be taken by elected officials to protect and conserve the natural resources of the state of Illinois, and ensure through professional management the sustainable use, recreational opportunities, and enjoyment of these resources is available for this and future generations. And you can always contact ABATE of Illinois at abate-il.org. And there's some benefits that come along with being a member of ABATE. And by joining ABATE, you can be part of a political power that has come together to oppose anti-motorcycling legislation, which we all know about, and to promote the safety of motorcyclists. You can help support the implementation of programs that will help the sport of motorcycling. You will receive a patch, yearly membership card, yearly rocker, bumper sticker, and a monthly newsletter that contains notice of ABATE activities and will keep you informed of any legislative activity affecting you, the motorcyclist. Most of all, you have the personal satisfaction of knowing that with your membership, you are helping to preserve the basic freedoms of all motorcyclists. And remember, in order to be a member of ABATE, you don't need to be a motorcyclist. You don't need to own a motorcycle. You only need to be a voter who cares about motorcyclists and who cares about people not being singled out for their activities. In fact, we had the last couple of weeks, I know 2 weeks ago, Ski was on, a legislative guy from down in Springfield. We had some problems here. I don't know if you're familiar with the banning of Kevlar, because it had to do with that Paul Bauer who was murdered by an offender, and that offender was wearing body armor, which was Kevlar. But motorcycling gear in and of itself does have Kevlar to protect the rider in case of a fall. Pad at the shoulders, elbows, base of the spine, to protect you in case you fall off a motorcycle or get dragged, because it can be pretty dangerous and things do happen. So they're working on legislation to exempt motorcycle riding gear from the banned Kevlar outfits. And these are very important things that the regular person wouldn't even really think about, because it doesn't affect them. It only affects somebody else. But let's put it in perspective, and we've talked about this time and time again. Once you've had a right taken away, good luck getting it back. Like New York with the helmet laws. They lost them. The ABATE of New York lost the right, and I believe do you remember exactly when it was, Oscar? The New York State passed mandatory helmet laws, and ABATE of New York lost the argument. So good luck, New York. Now, there are some current legislative issues and bills that are going on, and again, we're just going to keep you apprised of what's going on with the body armor issue, because motorcyclists must be wearing equipment that will protect them in the event of bad weather, in the event of a crash, in the event of whatever, to keep you safe and on the road. Because when you're riding a motorcycle, you don't have a cage around you like you do when you're riding in a car. You don't have any protection. So the clothing that you wear is what stands between you and injury, which is why when I go into the schools and talk about recommended safety gear, we're not against wearing helmets. We're against helmet laws mandating that you must be wearing a helmet. We want someone to be doing these things by choice, not by legislation. to let adults make adult decisions for adults. And we've actually had some instances where we've had some of our legislators, and they will remain nameless, that periodically come up with helmet laws. Oh, and they start with, oh, we're going to mandate children under the age of 16 must wear a helmet. And we stop it right there because it's an encroachment. Wear a helmet or don't wear a helmet. When we were kids, somehow there wasn't even such a thing known as a bicycle helmet, and we all survived. We survived drinking from water hoses outside. We survived playing on monkey bars and falling on our heads on pavement. We survived. And we're dead against nanny state laws that take away our rights as adults to make decisions for ourselves. We're about less government intervention into the personal choices of an individual. Now, there's some current legislative issues and bills happening that you might want to know about, and again, Pat talked about it, and Dan talked about some stuff last week, as Ski did 2 weeks ago. But autonomous vehicles. ABATE is opposed to House Bill 2747 as it is currently written, and has great concerns about the capability of current AV technology. Currently, discussions regarding autonomous vehicle regulations standards have excluded motorcycles and the detection capability of AV systems with regard to motorcycles. Only one AV company is actively testing motorcycle detection. Tesla automated systems failed to see a motorcycle officer in front of the car, resulting in a collision. The same system failed again in Culver City, colliding with a stopped fire truck at 65 miles per hour. A GM autonomous vehicle also collided with a motorcycle in California when its lane detection system couldn't decide on a lane to be in. Most AV systems use LiDAR, which has documented problems seeing stationary and smaller objects. House Bill 2747 is locked to SAE standards from 2016 and does not provide for updated standards as they change. The SAE standards do not specify detection capability, causing concern for motorcyclists. And it also assigns liability to the company under product liability acts instead of vehicle insurance standards. A motorcyclist hit by one of these machines would face years of court and massive legal fees before receiving a settlement for injuries caused by this technology. So, also profiling. ABATE is aware of some police departments using the wearing of vests as a pretext to traffic stops and interactions with motorcyclists. So far, we've been able to work with local authorities to address our concerns with potential First Amendment violations. If the patterns of harassment continue, a statewide solution may be pursued. Washington and Maryland have recently passed laws against motorcycle profiling. And again, we're back with the Cycle Rider Safety Training Fund. This fund is paid for by motorcyclists through registration and license fees. It pays for rider safety training, which creates better riders and provides formal training to riders of all levels. ABATE is opposed to any attempts to sweep this fund for unrelated uses. And Off-Highway Vehicle Trails Fund. This fund is paid for by off-road riders through fees paid only by them. It is used to pay out grants for developing off-road trails and parks, which benefit tourism in the state. ABATE supports Senate Bill 2233, allocating money from this fund to be used for its stated purpose. And we're back with the E15. Currently, E15 is the 15% ethanol. They have got 10% right now, but even as we've discussed previously, farm machine operators will only use pure gasoline with no ethanol to run their machines. So regarding E15, currently it is illegal and hazardous for motorcycle engines to utilize gas with ethanol blends higher than 10%. ABATE has concerns about the spreading use of this fuel and the possibility of contamination of our fuel tanks by using so-called blender pumps. You know, the ones when you go to the gas station and there's 3 different lines and you don't know which gasoline has been used in the pump before you. There's some residual gasoline, however many gallons it is. It could be 1 to 4. I'm not sure myself, but I know that there is gas. So if somebody that used 87 octane put gas in their car before you rode your motorcycle up, and the motorcycle needs the highest octane, I believe it's 92%, then you might be getting this lower grade gasoline, lower octane gasoline in your tank, and it can cause malfunction. The same as if you were to put diesel into a motorcycle tank. Forget about it. The blender pumps can pour up to 4 gallons of a previously selected fuel into your tank, which could cause the rider to end up with all this E15 when they select E10, increasing the possibility of engine damage caused by higher engine temps. Because the ethanol, the higher the amount of ethanol, the hotter it burns, and it damages the inside. They were doing some tests that showed, what comes out of the tank, what goes into the air, is less pollution, but it's destroying the engine inside. So lower exhaust doesn't mean that it's going to not do damage to your motorcycle engine. Anyways, ABATE also opposes any attempt to use tax credits or incentives to expand E15 programs. Such incentives rob the state of needed revenue in times of budget crisis and could result in the sweeping of funds like the Cycle Rider Safety Training Fund and Off-Highway Vehicle Trails Fund. And regarding helmets, ABATE continues to support the freedom of riders to choose whether or not to wear a helmet. There is inconsistent data on the effectiveness of this device, therefore we feel it should be up to each rider to research and decide for themselves. We agree with Dr. David Gill, emergency room doctor and former IDPH assistant director, who said, quote, "Rather than focusing on dictating actions to be taken by motorcyclists, we need to focus on educating those who drive other types of vehicles." And we have a caller.
The one I warned you about.
Okay. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Diane.
Yes.
Hi, how you doing this evening?
I'm fine. Who's this?
It's great to see a woman representing ABATE.
Thank
Can
you.
hear? Yeah, there you go.
There are a lot of us in ABATE, believe it or not. Why don't you come to the meeting tomorrow night over at the brewery, 3848 North Harlem.
Harlem and what, honey? That's my neighborhood.
3848 North Harlem. I don't know. Harlem and whatever 3800 North is.
What's the name of the place?
The
Diane?
brewery.
The brewery.
It's
Maybe
the
I'll
ABATE
stop
meeting
by
is
there.
every third Wednesday at 7 p.m. at the brewery, 3848 North Harlem.
Absolutely. That's cool. I live right in Norwich. I love you people. You guys are great. It's nice
What was
to
your
be able to
question,
talk to
caller?
you. Pardon me?
What was your question?
My question is, all these laws and rules, does that go for all the chapters of all over the United States, or are you just basically, we want to fight for the laws for Illinois, the bikers?
Illinois. We are Chicago. I am Director of Safety and Education for Chicago ABATE.
Okay.
Well, ABATE of Illinois, Chicago chapter.
There you go.
And
Dan,
we're only in Illinois.
Okay. Dan was
But there is a national ABATE, but in different states. There are a number of chapters here.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And Dan was mentioning something last week about April 25th for ABT Legislation Day down in
Glad
Springfield.
you asked.
That's going to be good.
I was going to talk about it. Here, let me, not to cut you short, hold on a sec.
Sure.
The legislative day for ABATE is Wednesday, April 25th.
Yes.
And
down in Springfield.
Yes, Rally for Motorcyclist Rights, Wednesday the 25th of April. At
that hotel at the State House Inn, that's where we all meet?
It's open to all riders and supporters of motorcycle rights. The schedule of events, 8 to 9 a.m. Register in the ballroom. 9 to 10 is the legislative update.
Okay.
And at 10, we invade the Capitol to talk with our elected officials.
Okay.
We all take a folder and we go to we divide them up among our members and we go and speak directly to our members.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. You guys need all the gear that you could possibly get when you're riding on motorcycles. The chaps are out. The chaps were just like a fashion statement.
Right.
Now you guys need the padding because there's so many crazy drivers on the street.
Oh, yes.
They're jealous because they don't have a motorcycle. They don't have their hair blowing in the wind, and they're going to mess with you on the street, some of them. So
Absolutely.
you got to be
But
careful,
if you're
sweetheart.
interested in going,
We are, definitely.
then
Me and my husband are
contact
going to
this.
ride
You
down
can see
there.
the State House Inn here.
Yes. Tomorrow night, you said.
If you need a room, contact the State House Inn at 217
Yeah.
528
Yeah.
5100 and
Perfect.
ask for the ABATE legislative day rate.
There
Because
you go.
at 5:30 that evening,
Uh-huh.
we meet with our elected legislators and we invite them all when we go from legislator to legislator.
Well, let's see if we can get something done for us, huh? What do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea, but you see, it's the same as with anything. If you're not a squeaky wheel, you don't get any oil.
Right.
And all too frequently, our elected officials forget
I'm right.
that we elected them to represent us.
Right. Well, you got to remember, there's some political people that are in the motorcycle chapters. I'm sure there is. I worked at a restaurant last summer, and I was fortunate enough to meet the St. Lucius chapter, 13. Are you familiar with those people?
Not personally.
They're from all over the world. They came here to Chicago for a memorial in Humboldt Park. It was great. They came to my restaurant for 2 days. We had a ball. Bacon
Why don't
and
you said
eggs
you have
all
a
over.
restaurant? Why don't you advertise with us in our newsletter?
I might just do that. Well, I retired now, sweetheart. I only work 1 day a week. And if all you guys came to where I work, you'd give Mama and Daddy a heart attack. We couldn't hold all you people. I work in a small restaurant now.
Never know.
You're right, but you guys are wonderful tippers. I'm going to see you down there at the brewery house tomorrow night.
Yep, the brewery here. This is the information.
Go.
Here, let me put it on the screen for you, for everybody to
I'm
see.
so glad they put you on TV tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Do me there you go. All right.
Every third Wednesday of the month, 7 p.m. at the
Okay.
brewery,
Harlem.
3848 North Harlem.
I know exactly where you're at.
And everybody who supports motorcyclists is welcome. We encourage people to join. Again, I'm a passenger. I'm not a rider.
Right?
But I support the rights of motorcyclists, and I have been
Absolutely.
active myself politically.
Honey, anytime we can support the rights of anything, that's what we got to do in this United States.
So
That's
what is your
we're
name?
all about.
What is your
Diane?
name?
Diane?
Yeah, no, your name?
My name is Paula.
Paula.
Yeah, do me a favor. Tell the host that's usually with you, that big man, what's his name,
Poor
Dan?
Pat, he's homesick today.
Oh, you tell him that Judy said hello, and he'll laugh.
I'm sure he will.
Okay, sweetheart, and I will see you guys tomorrow night, and if I don't see you tomorrow night, I will see you down April 25th at the legislative date at the State House Inn. You'll get a cup of coffee and a rotten donut. We'll go down to Springfield and fight for your rights, okay, baby?
Sure, and bring some friends down. Don't be
I'll
afraid.
bring
We
some
look forward to
friends.
seeing you. Look forward to meeting you.
Listen, Diane, all you need is me.
Okay, Paula,
And my
thanks for
husband.
calling.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
sweetheart. God bless you and be safe.
You too. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Paula, for that call. I appreciate it. It's always nice when people call in, especially when they have good things to say, and Paula seemed to be, she brought up exactly the things that we were going to talk about anyways. How cool is that? Now, there's some events coming up, too, that people need to be aware of. The awareness run. The awareness run is going to be on Sunday, the 29th of April, and we're going to start at the brewery and be there at, people are being called to come in about 8:30, and they'll be issuing awards at 9 o'clock, and at 10 o'clock, kick stands up. And as usual, the destination is a secret, but just so you know, We've had this wonderful winter. It seems like we set the clocks forward and the seasons back. Rain, snow, or shine, the event will take place. Even if we're just in the room. So, we'll look forward to seeing you. Put that on your calendar. And look forward to seeing a bunch of people. And the awards will be a surprise even to the people who get the awards. So be prepared. So anyways, it's a free ride through parts of the city of Chicago. It sends a wake-up call announcing that May is Motorcycle Awareness Month. And if it doesn't rain or snow or God knows what in this crazy city, we've had 4 seasons in the last week. We've had spring, summer, fall, and winter. I think Thursday it was like 70 degrees and it snowed a couple of days. It's like, yay! How about it? It's an adventure in Chicago. So, nobody else is calling in? Come on, call in. Are there any events going on? I know tonight is wing night at Llama, isn't it, Oscar? Oh, silent Oscar.
I think they changed it to Friday now.
Did they? Okay. Let me know. Because I don't want to announce something that isn't correct and get my wrist slapped by Pat.
They're there on Fridays for sure.
Oh, it's always a great time at Llama. They put on a great spread. I tell you something. For just a place that isn't a restaurant, they really do a nice job. The prices are right. The company is great. Parking is plentiful. And 3519 West Fullerton. It's I have no problem going there. Some people say, "Oh, it's the city. I don't want to go into the city." You know what? Come into the city. There's some great stuff that you're missing by not coming into the city. There are some events coming up to be announced? Any of our organizations that belong?
Not that I know of.
No, Llama usually has a bunch of events. Yeah, Pat didn't fill me in beforehand, but
Llama didn't fill us in either.
because I know often the different member organizations we have, some are 100% members, and some we just have a bunch of members who belong to various organizations, various different motorcycle clubs. Because ABATE is not a club. ABATE is a lobbying organization. ABATE is a political organization. ABATE is not Democrat. ABATE is not Republican. We work with Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and whomever are in public office who take a vested interest, with a rocker, in motorcyclist rights. Because all too frequently, motorcyclists and other smaller groups are overlooked by our elected officials because they don't present themselves in large enough number, which is how things like tax bills get passed and so on. Believe me, folks, we're in for some taxes going up here in Illinois, and a lot of people have been talking about it. People are exiting the state of Illinois in record numbers due to taxes and various things like that. You can find a lot less expensive properties somewhere in neighboring Indiana, down in Florida, which is financially the most stable state in the country, and various other places. They don't think that we think that we're stuck here. And some of us are. We really are stuck here, whether it's for family or employment or whatever. But as people get older, the kids grow up, they retire, a lot of people are moving out of the state of Illinois. And we need to have our elected officials do whatever they can to keep Illinois fiscally solvent, to keep people here so they don't leave in the record numbers that they have been. And that's going to involve active voting by our members. And over time, during the coming months, just like in the newspaper for the primary, we're going to tell you who to please vote for in November. Anyways, it's time for us to close up shop and say goodnight for tonight and look forward to seeing you all next week and at various upcoming events. Stay safe, and we'll see you all down the road. Thank you.